Hello, my name is Rocket and welcome back to episode 46 of my Postknight playthrough. Last episode we did the Sunken Trail in the hard difficulty, and today we're going to be doing Vilery, the hardest level in the game, in the hard difficulty. So what are the differences between the Sunken Trail and Vilery? Well, in Vilery we see a huge decrease on goos, and this is going to be a problem for a specific reason I'll talk in a little bit. But goos are basically the easiest range enemies you'll find throughout the Fractured Forest, but I'll explain why it's a little bit bad. We're also going to see a little decrease on Prongles, which is not that interesting because there's going to be a lot more melee enemies in this level than range ones, so the little significance isn't that big. Obviously it's a little bit okay because we get less stuns from the Prongles, but overall it's not that big of a difference. We have a little increase on Phantom Nears. This is a little bit scary because Phantom Nears do a lot of damage and they're melee enemies, which is really scary because the hardest enemy to go past is the Hooligan Witch Doctor, which does a lot of damage. Next up, we have a huge increase on Hooligans, and I mean a huge increase on Hooligans. And the reason for this is that in all the last levels in the Fractured Forest, there's a lot of goos. But in this specific last level, Vilery, there's a huge decrease on goos, and to balance out the enemies, the level actually increases a lot in Hooligans. This makes the Vilery the hardest level in the game, because there's so many Hooligans you need to beat, and not many of the lower, tier enemies you could call it, for like goos, Prongles, and Phantom Nears. The Hooligan family is probably the hardest enemies you need to find, and there's 26 Hooligans that we need to beat in Vilery. There's also a little decrease on Hooligan Archers, which is kind of helpful, but it's not that significant to make it, a better level for us. And then there's a slight increase on Hooligan Witch Doctors, which is pretty scary. So, there's a lot of things I want to talk about this level, but I kind of want to talk it as we go through it. Just two things I want to mention is that for this specific level, I'm thinking of using Elusive Charge and Elusive Shield. They synergize very well with my build, I had to do a little bit of grinding on my potion, and I have my potion on 800 health, and I'll explain why a few things. So, Vilery is a really hard level for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of Hooligans, there's a lot of Hooligan Archers, there's a lot of Hooligan Witch Doctors, but it's a really hard level to beat because there's a lot of enemies, and usually I think the average for you to beat this level with the Elusive build is usually like 10 minutes. So, it's going to take a little while. So there's a lot of things I want to explain. I thought it'd be better if I explained it throughout the level because you're going to be here a while. Now, the huge decrease on goos made so that we have a lot of Hooligans to beat, and that's really scary because Hooligans do a lot of damage. They're a little bit bulky, so it takes a bit of time for us to actually beat them, and it's hard to reach the bank line. And why is that a big problem? Because with this build, which is, the Strength Agility build, which in my opinion is probably the best build in the game, this build is not made for, beating this specific level. It's made for farming accurately, one-shotting everything in your path, and that's usually the case. But in this specific level, no. Having 1 vitality is really scary, because the Witch Doctors kill you with 3 hits. You might be thinking to yourself, right, you have 1 vitality, but it's why is the Hooligan Witch Doctor kills you with 3 hits? Well, the reason for that is that once you reach level 99, you don't put any points in intelligence because it's useless. Now let me talk about what intelligence does. So intelligence gives you extra magic resistance, so you receive less damage from magic attacks, and you gain extra experience. So obviously the extra experience is useless, it's just something a bit obvious, right? Because you reach the maximum level, you don't need extra experience. But why is magic resist useless? Well, the majority of enemies you're going to find throughout the game are actually physical damagers, not magical damagers. So it really isn't that useful because at the end of the day, you're going to be fighting a lot more melee fighters, I guess, with physical attacks. And magic defense aren't going to help you there, right? And on the few magic enemies you do find, you can actually just one-shot them because they're usually, ranged characters. But in this specific level, Vilery hard difficulty, they hit like a goddamn truck, and because you have no vitality, you have no intelligence, the Witch Doctors kill you with 3 hits, which is really scary. The only way to get across that is actually either changing your build path, which I don't really recommend because, it's a lot of gems you need to waste just to beat the specific level in the hard difficulty, or you can upgrade the potion a lot. Now, I think on the last episode I had like 760 maybe on my potion, and getting the crystal potion, which I think it's crystal potion, right? The 800 is not easy. You have to grind for a long time. I think the discrepancy between this episode and the Sunken Trail hard difficulty is really big because I needed a lot of time to actually grind up my potion to 800. I still think in the long run is a bit better than wasting gems to actually change my point distribution just so I can beat this specific level with with another build. But alright, so imagine you have like extra points or extra gems, I mean, and you actually want to change your build. What should you put on your distribution points? Should you actually put intelligence? Well, I still think no. I still think like if you're just gonna be worrying about the Witch Doctor and you're gonna be putting intelligence specifically for that, it's not a good idea because after this level is over, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to switch to another build and that requires more gems. And remember, each time you refresh all your stats, you waste 50 plus gems. So imagine you wasted once, it's 50 gems, but on second time it's already 100. And if you already did it before, it can go to like 150, 200. That's a lot of gems. But if you want to go for a bulkier build to actually be a little bit tankier, I recommend putting a few points of vitality. Because having one vitality, it's really scary against these Witch Doctors. But I recommend putting a few points of vitality instead of agility. You still will have a lot of agility, but you still have more HP. You're gonna be a little bit bulkier. It's gonna be a bit harder for the Witch Doctors to actually kill you. And assuming you actually reached halfway, I will not watch Natus. I think we can do this. So yeah, right now the thing is I'm regenning a lot, and that's pretty much the way you win. You regen a ton from just fighting. Because if you don't, you die. And obviously, because you have such low HP, because I'm currently with the farming build of 1 vitality, if you get one shot, you die. It doesn't matter if you have like an 8,000 healing potion if you get one shot. So it's really important you actually time your shield with your charge and your potion to try to get the most healing and prevent your death. And it's going to be a little bit hard to synchronize, especially since you're trying to deal with a melee opponent, and then you have a goddamn Witch Doctor hitting you with the back, like I'm currently facing. I'm actually maybe dead. Ooh, 16 HP. So, yeah, you do require a little bit of RNG here and there, just to make it, fastest level, and you need to be a bit lucky here and there, unless you want to increase the potion a lot or change your build. I just kind of wanted to stay with my agility build, because I use this build for pretty much everything, especially for farming. It's just really good with the blitz, and I didn't really want to waste gems on it. But I think in the long run, just try and search for the best with RNG, with, my build synergizing very well and me getting a lot of healing and actually beat the level this way is a bit better in my opinion. So yeah, I think, in my opinion actually, the Witch Doctor is way scarier than the boss. I think the boss is really easily beatable. I think this is actually, the Fracture Fort has one of the easiest bosses in the game. It's just poison, it's just a little bit of poison. It's really not scary at all. I think the scariest boss of the game in Postknight is actually the one you find on Calderon, I think. It's the one that's actually like a mage, from like a cult. I think that was Keltron. I can't be quite sure about that, but he's like this mage, and he throws a light, a beam, and it does a lot of damage, especially if you don't shield. Probably like one-shots you. In my opinion, that's the hardest, boss in the game. I don't think the ability boss is even scary. I think it's probably one of the easiest bosses in the game, which I guess is okay, because, it's the last level, so you already have, like, your full build and things like that, but it shouldn't be as hard as other bosses. So, the main issue here is you have a lot of hooligans to beat, and you're trying to beat all those hooligans to reach the backline of the Witch Doctor, and the Archer, which attacks really fast, can be really annoying, especially once you get one of these combos where you get, a hooligan archer, and hooligan Witch Doctor. It's one of the scariest waves you can actually find. It appears you're actually in the boss on 6 minutes and 25. That's really early. So let's see if you can actually beat him. It shouldn't be that hard though, in my opinion. And it's just gonna take a long time, for sure. It's gonna take a long time, but overall, this shouldn't be really hard. It's way less scary than a Witch Doctor. And at the end of the day, we just win. We just keep regenning. And as you can see, like, it does a little bit of damage, but we just keep regenning it with our potion. And we just kind of need to let him get away, because we don't have the blitz right now. So if we actually charge and we miss, he's going to attack us, we're going to receive a lot of damage. So we just let him go, and we shield and charge, and we heal up all the damage he's done. And we just repeat it. And that's how you pretty much beat Vilery in the hard difficulty. It's a very hard level for sure. It's probably the hardest in the game, obviously. But there's a few ways to go across the difficulty a little bit. You can either rely on luck, like I did a little bit after I grinded my potion a lot. It took a long time to get this potion at 800 HP. Or you can just change your build a little bit if you're sparing a few gems. Or, you can just try to be a little bit lucky. But overall, just be careful with the Hooligan Witch Doctors. They're the scariest opponent you're gonna find for sure. The Hooligans, there's a lot of them. Hooligan Witch Doctors, Hooligan Archers are really scary because they attack really fast. So make sure if you actually, if you're gonna be a little bit back, if the gap between you and the Hooligan Archer is actually a little bit big, make sure to shield so you can actually get a little bit closer to actually charge and kill it. And that's pretty much the level. That's pretty much the hardest level in the game. And with that, we have finished every single level in Postknight, normal and in hard difficulty. I think I have 1 or 2 more videos planned on Postknight, on the playthrough. But other than that, it should be pretty much done. With that, we have finished all the levels in the game, and we finished in 7 minutes and 53 seconds, but I think it's a little bit less than average, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much the Fractured Forest Vilery in hard difficulty. Next episode should be... It's actually a secret, I'm not going to tell you right now, but it's a secret. There's two, maybe 1 more Postknight playthrough videos coming out, but I'm really happy that we finally finished the game, and I can't wait to see what's next. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and I will see you next time.